There has been evil that's been done in the name of the church. Oftentimes, the number one thing that's brought up is the Crusades. It's 1,000 years old, but people are still bringing up the Crusades related to that. And then there's personal episodes that people have where they have been hurt by the church. There's been some very real people that have been abusers that have been found in the midst of the church, and oftentimes as leaders in the midst of the church. And part of what we need to do is we need to just admit that that's real and that's true. But then what we need to do is we need to say, is this in alignment with the ways of Jesus or in opposition to the ways of Jesus? And when you find whether it's crusades or personal abuse that's happened in somebody's life or something that has been hurtful in the midst, if you say Jesus teaches this and that person was doing the exact opposite, I would say don't reject Jesus or his bride because some evil people have come in and manipulated the church structure for their own power or self-gratification. In fact, you'll find that evil people will oftentimes choose places where they think they can get away with their evil, and sometimes because of altruistic motives in the church, because people believe the best in the church, sometimes people will even target churches as places to bring their abuse if they're a very evil person, and they'll play the wolf in sheep's clothing type of game. Paul said you got to be watching out for these people. This is going to be real, he said, in the New Testament. So watch out for them and make sure you guard the church against this kind of evil. Sometimes that's worked effectively. Sometimes it has not worked effectively. And we work on the backside of that in the repair game that Jesus calls redemption, where he takes broken lives and puts them back together again. Now, with all of that being said, I think that oftentimes the ratio of good to evil in the church is oftentimes overstated towards the evil side and understated towards the good side. If I'm looking at the church worldwide and historically, I think there's been no other institution in the history of the world that has done more good than the local church. Everything from hospitals to education to leprosariums to taking care of widows and orphans and the poor to adopting people to the value of children to the value of women to the elimination of slavery that's going worldwide right now. All of those things have their origins in the church, and all of those things have made a difference worldwide because the church was actively involved in those things. So while we have to admit that the evil in the church is very real, if you're taking a look at the scales, the good that's been done by the people of God has been unbelievably strong. In fact, you could just ask yourself the question, if tomorrow all Christians were zapped off of the planet and the planet was left to go with no Christians, would it be better off or worse off? And I think we could agree it would spiral out of control if it wasn't for the salt and light that the 2 billion believers in this world provide for this world. And that the influence of the church, not only historically, but today, is a tremendous influence of good.